Welcome back. In this video, I would like to show you what it is that we are going to implement. So the game, you saw that in the introduction, but now let's look at what kind of features we're going to implement. So you can already see that we have a UI here. So an overlay that comes up and we have this restart button. We have a little bit of a text. Then we have this extra layer that makes the background look different at this point. And we can restart a game pressing it. Then as you see here, when I'm moving my mouse, there is this line following my mouse. And this is a feature that we're going to implement. That will be the trail renderer. Okay, so we have seen how to use the trail renderer in a very, very simple example when we rendered the laser. But this time we're going to use it as a blade, and you can even see it. We have a width that changes based on where it is, so to speak. So it's thicker in the center, less thick later, and it really is pretty cool. So if we run the game, you can really see it. Well, it feels like we're sliding really through something. Okay, so you see here, it follows my mouse, and the faster my mouse is, the longer this line is. So it has a time that it lives, and the slower I am, the smaller the lower the length is, so the smaller the length is. Okay, so that's something that we're going to implement, the trail renderer. Then when running the game, you can see that we have sound. So you will see how to implement sound to your game, because we still haven't done that yet. And you really need to have sound in your game. Therefore, we're going to make sure to create our own sound. In this case, I'm going to show you how to create sound with your mouth. Well, I'm not going to show my mouth for that, but you can just try to make sounds with whatever you have handy. And sometimes it's good enough for your games. It really depends on what kind of games you're building. Even if you look at the sound effects in films, like in most of the films, the sound effects, well, nowadays it's all electronic, but back in the day, they would use the weirdest things to create certain sounds. So the Bud Spencer and Terence Hill films, they're amazing with all of this clapping and stuff, right? But they're never really actual claps that they have recorded. It's always some additional sound that they have made with some materials that they have handy. All right, so that's something that you can use for your sounds as well. Then, as you see here, let's look at the scene. We have 3 different spawn places. So these ones here, these are using gizmos. Okay, so these will be our spawn places where we spawn the fruits and bombs from. And we're using different angles, because if you look at it, we even have different angles that are, well, the fruits come from. They can come from the bottom, they can come from the left-hand side and from the right-hand side. And then we are let them fly just as fast as necessary for them to fall down again. Okay. Then we have this interaction where we slice fruit, and we don't really slice the fruit exactly at the position where we see it here. So it's not like we're slicing it in the center perfectly all the time, but we're creating this effect by having a very simple concept. So it's a trick that is going to be super helpful for you. So you have this banana here, for example. Okay, so that is the banana that we have. It's something that you can easily build in Blender. And then that is the cut banana that we have. So we have one banana that is whole and one banana that is cut. And the only thing that we're doing is once we cut through it, so once there is the collision effect, we are replacing the banana with this cut banana. And we are just letting them fly, those 2 parts, letting them fly in 2 different directions a little randomly. And this creates this cool effect that we have in the game if we play it. Then you can also see that we are using a score system here where we also store the high score. And each time that we slice through a fruit, we get 3 points and the value goes up. And it's always a comparison between our high score and the score that we currently have there. So best is always there. And once I hit the record, or once I'm higher than the record, you can see my best score is also automatically being updated now, because whatever score I have now will be my new record. Okay, so let me hit the next bomb once it comes up. As you will see, once we hit the bomb, game is over. Now you could say, okay, well, there are way too few bombs, so maybe let's add more bombs in the game. Well, that would be an option, but for now, as you see, we don't have that. So there we are, and bomb is game over. Okay, so That's something you can then of course play around with, the ratios at which you spawn bombs and all of the good stuff. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to see how we can export this game to be playable on Android. You will see how to build and run this on Android and export it so that you can then play it on your Android phone. Along the way, you're going to learn a bunch of other details as well, but that would be pretty much it for now. So I'd say let's get started building this game.